Hello, welcome to this edition of Trojan Talk. I'm Paige Ray. We have a guest today. This is Mike Gray, a lecturer here in the Hall School of Journalism and Communication. Mike, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So you are new to Troy. This is your first semester here, correct?
First semester here and my first few months in town, actually. So.
Very nice. Okay, well, where did you come from? Where were you before here?
So immediately prior to coming to Troy, I was working at LSU and living in Baton Rouge for a year. Before that, I spent my life basically in Northeast Arkansas and worked at Arkansas State University for a few years.
Very nice. So what's your professional background look like? What have you been up to?
Well, so immediately after high school, I did all kinds of things. I did not go to college. I laid brick, I washed dishes, I did sales. I sold vacuum cleaners. Well, I tried to sell vacuum cleaners. I did all kinds of things, and I was 29 when I went back to college and fell in love with learning and teaching and debate. But I have a pretty big resume that goes everywhere from washing dishes to managing an office supply store.
So tell me a little bit about your educational background then. So you ended up going back to school and falling in love with teaching. So what did you end up doing? Well,
at 29 years old, I signed up for freshman gen ed classes and decided to major in communication studies. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do with it at the time, but there was some non-traditional scholarship money in that particular area, so that's what I went with. And like many people who sign up for communication studies, I figured out along the way what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it became pretty clear to me that I wanted to teach. I accidentally got a philosophy degree along the way.
Accidentally?
Yeah, those electives classes, I kept taking them in philosophy and realized that I was a few classes away from a philosophy degree. And so I got that degree and then went on to get my master's in communication studies and just started teaching.
That's cool. So now that you're here at Troy, obviously you're in the Hall School of Communication and Journalism, but what are you teaching? What kind of courses are you for?
So one course that I'm pretty excited about this spring is argumentation and debate. And if I understand correctly, this class has not been offered in several years. So I'm pretty excited about being able to take that class, update the curriculum for it, and offer the students something new and interactive and engaging and challenging to do. Beyond that, I'm teaching courses like intercultural and international communication, organizational communication, group communication and leadership. And maybe sometime down the road, I'll write my own course on humor and political rhetoric, which I've taught before at other places, but there's not a course like that currently on the book, so I would need to write it and get it approved.
So things to look forward to in the future then.
I sure hope so.
So you also are heading up a debate club here, because I know this because a lot of my students were talking about it and they were really excited. So tell us a little bit about that avenue.
Well, as I said before, at 29 years old, I signed up for college and joined a debate team and fell in love with debate. It was sort of odd to be a 29-year-old arguing against 18 and 19-year-olds and losing a lot. Eventually, I got good at it and fell in love with it. And the reason that I wanted to start a group here at Troy that did that is because everything that I learned in college and everything that I knew about life and all of my opinions, they really only started to click and make a lot of academic sense in the context of debate. And it added something to my learning experience that no other class could offer, no lecture could offer, no quiz or test or essay could offer. And I thought, you know, every college needs to have a debate team, and you have to start somewhere. So I started with just a student group, and we'll sort of see where it goes.
We mentioned before this interview started how you have used your skills that you've learned in debate down the road, and then you don't even realize they're coming into play till afterward. And then even you said, oh, I handled that really well. So there you go. Well, before we go, I want one fun fact. I feel like you've given us like 5 already, but let's make it 6.
Yeah, so these questions are inevitable, I suppose. This is sort of odd, and I won't be able to elaborate on it at all, so you'll just have to take what I can offer.
Okay.
At one point in time, just a few years ago, I had over 800 gallons of water in my house because I was a fancy betta breeder. So I bred fancy betta fish and had about 50 fish tanks in the back of my house, and I spent all day long working on genetics and breeding fish and selling them on the internet.
Well, there you go. So we're not going to elaborate. If you want more, go find him. Well, Mike, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it, and we're glad you're here at Troy.
Thank you so much.
Of course, and thank you for joining us on this edition of Trojan Talk.